What's up with Trumpists? What is it about them that's making them destroy themselves from the inside out, as they're doing in Congress these days with Kevin McCarthy? We could call them narcissists, but politicians have to be narcissistic. We could call them lying hypocrites, but for politicians to stay popular with millions of diverse people, they have to employ lying and hypocrisy. They're tools of the trade. I'd call them morons, but by a distinct and precise definition that has nothing to do with their supposed conservativism. There are plenty of liberal morons too. What distinguishes morons is right there in the word itself. Morons are folks who mindlessly pile more and more on of whatever they hold as their personally branded virtues. If they identify as tough, they can never have enough toughness. If they identify as freedom-loving, they can never have enough freedom. If they're hooked on attention, they can never have enough of it, even if it's all negative attention. They're like people who discover they like salt, declare themselves the salt king, and pour whole canisters on every dish, even if it kills them. To a moron, there's no such thing as excess. Morons have found the thing that gets them high. Ever since, they've hammered away at it mindlessly, robotically, moronically, like junkies. On the winding road of life, they veered right once. It felt like their big breakthrough, the last they'd ever need. Ever since, they've insisted that one should always veer right on winding roads. You could call them extremists or radicals, but not in comparison to some clear established standard. We're all extreme and radical by someone's standard. Rather, they're immoderate, actually anti-moderate, opposed to all moderation. They're juggernaut nutcases, barreling through all checks and balances, anything that could constrain their moronic excesses. They've found their signature virtue, and they'll bang away on it till the cows come home, never mind the consequences. If you've only got a hammer, everything's a nail. Trumpists only know how to get attention by banging away at everyone who challenges them. Throughout history, revolutions have imploded, devouring their own. When the revolution wins, they have to lead, not just spout slogans. But their leaders only know how to compete moronically over who hammers best. So they start hammering each other down. They've got their one thing. Their pride is branded to it like the Salt Kings. They feel immortal because they found the one thing they stand for. If they die, it will be a proud death. They'll have died in the excess of their one moronic cause, the sole source of their identity. Being a moron wins for a while. More and more morons pile on because the moron leaders' one thing can be their source of pride too. Moronic movements are so simple they make every supporter feel like a genius. They found the one and only thing that matters, and they can never have enough of it. Reality is suddenly becoming a way more complex place to live. Whenever that happens, we see moron epidemics, one-trick phonies checking out of reality and into false claims that the answer is simply more of some one thing. The fascist and communist movements of the mid-20th century were like that, mindless moronic excess. Moron movements win for a while and then spin out. It's spinning out for the Trumpists these days. They've lost an election but can't bear to think about why. And they're imploding as moronic movements always do. Being a moron is a recipe for absolute narcissism, hypocrisy, and lying. Morons only pretend they can never have too much of a good thing. Though they claim you should always veer right on winding roads, they don't. They veer left as much as we all do. They just like grandstanding about having found the one true answer. Nothing else matters to them, so of course, their narcissism, lying, and hypocrisy go unchecked. They don't really care about the thing they demand more and more of. They just care about their elevated status for having found the one thing that matters. They're the Salt King, and they'll die a proud death on their salty cross, not because they were that into salt, but because they were into being kings. Those who don't learn about the morons of history are farces that repeat them. That's what's happening to the Trumpists these days. They're spinning out, as morons always do.